The first week of June marked a turning point for millions of people across the United States. A series of powerful thunderstorms, relentless rainfall, and sudden flash floods swept through the central part of the country, unleashing chaos, fear, and widespread destruction in just a matter of hours. What began as a routine weather warning quickly escalated into a large-scale disaster. Nature's fury struck hard, with lightning lighting up the skies like fireworks, but with no celebration in sight. Several people were injured by lightning strikes.
Yeah, this is no joke, guys. Definitely don't try to drive around Harry and Oliver. Or at least not on Oliver. I guess there's some big trucks that can go through on Harry. But as far as Oliver is concerned,
social media was soon flooded with apocalyptic-looking videos and photos. Dark, ominous skies, thunder so loud it rattled windows, and an eerie silence between each electrical burst. In Kansas, the situation was just as dire. The heavy and increasingly violent rain turned city streets into raging rivers. Dozens of drivers were trapped in their vehicles, unable to move forward or backward as the water rose rapidly. Rescue teams raced against time, using boats to reach stranded people. In some cases, the current was so strong that even rescue workers were at risk. Water respected no boundaries. It rushed into homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses. Entire families watched their belongings float through living rooms or get swept away in the streets. Many had no time to save anything except their lives. The scenes were heartbreaking. Children wrapped in thermal blankets in makeshift shelters, adults crying as they saw their homes reduced to wet debris. In places like Kansas City, desperation took hold. The drainage system collapsed in several neighborhoods, causing water levels to rise in minutes and trapping hundreds. Urban infrastructure trash bins, street signs, even entire vehicles floated down flooded streets, crashing into each other as emergency sirens wailed nonstop.
Yard looks crazy right now.
Missouri wasn't spared either. There, heavy rains were accompanied by strong winds that toppled trees and power lines. The result? Thousands left without electricity in the middle of the storm, as temperatures plummeted and families had no way to keep warm. For many, it was a long night of darkness and fear.
I said, fuck your car! Oh my God, why is this gonna work?
Whoa. Meanwhile, in Florida, authorities issued severe storm warnings. Although the state hadn't yet experienced the devastation seen in the Midwest, forecasts were grim. Officials feared the same storm system would move eastward, bringing similar destruction. Warnings were clear: stay indoors, avoid danger zones, and keep up with updates.
I said, fuck your car! Oh my God, why is this gonna work?
Whoa. Despite the efforts of meteorological services to issue early warnings, the sheer speed and intensity of the storm overwhelmed all predictions. In mere hours, entire communities were isolated, and chaos took over the most affected areas. What was supposed to be an ordinary afternoon turned into a nightmare for thousands of families. The most painful update came with the casualty report. At least 16 people lost their lives. Some died inside their vehicles, others were swept away by floodwaters, and a few were struck by lightning. Behind those numbers are real people faces, dreams, and families devastated by this tragedy. Satellite images revealed the full extent of the disaster. A massive cloud system covered much of the central U.S., pouring down rain with no mercy. On the ground, the scenes were equally shocking. Homes submerged to their rooftops, roads washed out, and desperate people signaling for help from atop their houses. More rain meant more flooding and more victims. Authorities were doing everything they could to stay in control, but nature always seemed one step ahead. The fear that the storm might intensify or change direction hung over every decision. Given the scale of the disaster, state and local governments opened temporary shelters in gyms, churches, and community centers. There, families found a bit of comfort and human warmth. Food and blankets were shared, but above all, there was hope. Despite the pain, the spirit of community shined through. This extreme weather event comes just as hurricane season officially begins in the United States. Experts aren't optimistic. Forecasts predict one of the most intense seasons in recent years. Between 13 and 19 tropical storms could form, with at least 6 likely to become hurricanes. To make matters worse, budget cuts have weakened the capacity of key emergency management agencies. These organizations, vital during large-scale disasters, now face serious limitations in responding effectively to crises of this magnitude. This catastrophe has exposed the vulnerabilities in the nation's infrastructure. Many cities are not equipped to handle such events, and the consequences are worsened by the lack of investment in drainage systems, early warning technology, and urban planning. Officials and climate experts warn that disasters like this will become increasingly common due to climate change. What used to be a rare occurrence is now a repeating pattern. Action is urgently needed to protect the most vulnerable and prepare for future emergencies.
As far as Oliver is concerned,